Said that this team has really earned this bye week, as late as it is. What would you want your message, if you can share with us, to the team as they go into the bye week to be?
Well, we're not done. We're not satisfied. I think champions are never satisfied. I think you can appreciate where you are, but at the same time, never be satisfied or complacent. And the fine line between rest and recovery and, just being sedentary. So there's a fine line of what we have to do to be able to come back here, understand that just because you have a bye, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed some victory the next week in this league. Teams are 16 and 12 coming off a bye this year. So obviously the bye doesn't guarantee anything other than we should get some guys back that we didn't have last night. And we'll see where that goes throughout the week. Give them some time to reconnect with people that they care about. And then also be ready to focus on football and us finishing this thing.
It's a cold and frigid day here in New England. I went outside before the show started. I can tell you I'm not going outside again for the rest of the day. About 12 degrees. So instead of going outside, instead of going to work, let's take the day off, snuggle up with a blanket, grab some coffee, and let's talk some Patriots football. Keagan Stiefel. I will soon be joined by Jade McCarthy for another episode of Foxborough Rush. And we have a lot to get into. Obviously, Patriots bye week, so we're going to get into all the big picture stuff, where their standings are in the AFC and what their prospects looking like moving forward, as well as Drake Maye's MVP odds. But before that, I did want to get a little bit into Monday night's win over the New York Giants. I haven't been able to talk with you guys about that yet. And I think one of the big storylines to come out of it is Christian Ellis and the physicality and just kind of that bully mentality the Patriots had against the Giants. Christian Ellis talked about his two hits, specifically the one on Jackson Dart on the sideline that turned Twitter into an uproar and have everybody talking. Here's Christian Ellis on his hit on Jackson Dart.
No, actually, in the moment, I was like, "Oh, dang! Did I hit him out of bounds?" I was like, "I thought I hit him in bounds," and it was just the way his team reacted. I was like, "Oh, I guess I did hit him out of bounds." And then I watched the jumbotron, and that's what gave me like, okay, like I'm good. And those flags on the ground, they probably aren't on me, and if they are, it probably wasn't a good call. So it was more of like watching the play back and being like, okay, he was in bounds.
I'm just curious, Christian, you guys have exceeded a lot of people's expectations already, the number of wins you guys have. Does that motivate you guys at all? You have belief in yourselves, but there are a lot of people who did not believe that you guys would be this good this season. Do you get anything out of that? Is there any, juice that might give your team?
Yeah, no, I think when you have a chip on your shoulder, it always pushes you, it motivates you, it makes you want to be better to prove those people wrong. But for us, I don't think we look at it, our record, and like get satisfied. We are always on to the next game. We always want to be 1 week better, 1 day better. And for us, it's just every week is going to be a week you can lose, a week you can let slip, a week.
Don't hit me like that.
A week where you don't want to take a nap. Yeah.
Drake Maye has been taking some hits like that, so another conversation maybe to be had for another day. But just reflecting on that a little bit, I think that was kind of a good snapshot of the Patriots season so far. That hit on Jackson Dart, as well as the one on Gunnar Olszewski. I mean, he knocked the logo off his helmet. It was pretty physical, but just overall, kind of the way those two teams looked, it looked like teams heading in the opposite direction. The Patriots obviously on the climb. They've got the best record in the AFC. They've looked like one of the best teams in the AFC, and they were just more prepared on Monday. It was very clear kind of from the jump. We've talked a lot about slow starts. The defense has given up first drive scores in 9 of 12 games, I believe it is. And Drake Maye obviously has struggled early. He's thrown a couple interceptions in the first quarter. A week prior, he had thrown the pick 6 against the Cincinnati Bengals. So just seeing them take another step forward, fix another issue that we've seen crop up throughout the season was encouraging, without a doubt. I think that Patriots win was the most encouraging from my perspective throughout the season. And that's what made it so gratifying, even though it was over a 2-win team and a team that had fired their head coach and had a new quarterback under center from the previous week. they took care of business, and that's something that we haven't been able to say about them throughout this last 2-3 year run. Another group that took care of business was the offensive line. Obviously, Ben Brown and Vederian Lowe in there starting for the two rookies, Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, who are down with injuries and are expected to be out for a couple of weeks. Mike Vrabel talked about their performances on Monday.
I thought that they were excited about playing, and I think that is probably the thing that pleases me the most, is that they wanted it, that Vederian wanted to go out there and play and compete and block, and Ben, fought and battled, and I know he had a holding call, which I think was close. I mean, they called it. Stay inside out, but I've seen worse. There was worse yesterday, but that's what they called. And but they were excited about playing, and they were prepared and they were ready to go. So that's kind of what you have to do at this time of the year, or any time in the National Football League, is be ready to go. No different than Thayer Munford coming in there from Cleveland and helping us, and being ready and going out there and helping us in his opportunities. And we know what happens there. You probably get more opportunities.
Being ready, coming out when you have to have a new opportunity, something different. It's just what we do here in New England. Isn't that right, Jade?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Right, Keegan? It's just, one of those things. You got to jump in, and that's what the offensive line did this week. And you and I talked about that so much, getting set for that game on Monday night, right? Like, what were they going to look like? These were guys that had shown us maybe they weren't going to be able to protect Drake Maye as best as he has been protected this season. And then they went out and did just that. And the other thing I would say on that is a lot of credit to Josh McDaniels in that. And we talked about that, right? Like, how was he going to design this offense to help it move to the best of the ability, given some of the injuries that they were dealing with? And I feel like that's exactly what we saw happen. And that's hugely significant moving forward, because you're obviously going to have some more tests, right? I mean, the Buffalo Bills have the Cincinnati Bengals to take care of this weekend, but then they come in here next week to take on the New England Patriots in a 1:00 game. And that's the next level of a test for this Patriots offensive line in its current compilation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you were able to hide a few things on Monday just because it was the first time anybody had seen this unit. A lot of chipping. Obviously, Ramondre Stevenson got the start, and I think it was important for the Patriots to have him in there to help those two offensive linemen who had been thrust into the starting lineup. Austin Hooper with a really big performance. Just he played a lot, and he didn't have a huge role in the passing offense. He was there to chip guys, to really funnel everything inside and kind of make the Giants pass rush a little bit more one-dimensional than we thought they might be coming in, obviously, with all that talent that they have. So a great job by Josh McDaniels to scheme it up the way he did, and just another challenge for him moving forward, because now it's on tape. Teams have seen what you're doing, and it's going to get a little bit more difficult with each passing week when you don't have your two starters out there. So first step done, well done, check mark. Let's see what you can do next time.
Yeah, look, I mean, and you talk about Vederian Lowe in this one, and this is a test for him in multiple layers, right? Because obviously it's a test to what he can mean to this team right now. He's also a free agent, going into the offseason. So then it's like you look at it in the sense of this is a personal test for him, because if you go out there and you show that you can be a competent and a successful swing tackle in this league, you're checking another type of box, if you catch my drift here. Here is what he said about his play Monday night and being part of what the Patriots are putting together this season.
Yeah, definitely. We were definitely really excited to play. We looked at it as an opportunity, to put some good stuff out there against a really good front. There's a lot of athleticism, a lot of skill, a lot of talent, across that Giants front. And, we looked at it as an opportunity, to take advantage of it. And we're just glad we were able to come up with the victory.
Pride you take, whether you're watching the game back or even just the pictures on the sideline, when you see the clean pockets that you're able to give to Drake.
Yeah. It's really good, because, just Drake is such a great player, man. If we just give him, the space that he needs to step up in the pocket and he can make all the throws. You know, he's going to make the right decision. We have full, trust and belief in him. And we know if we just do our job and give him the space and opportunity to do his, we'll be successful. So, that's all we're trying to do is go out there and give Drake, what he needs to do his thing.
Drake has been doing a lot with all the different things that he's been given this season. We've obviously seen that time and time again. Saw it, of course, on the national stage on Monday Night Football. We'll talk about, the MVP honors that he might just find himself having earned by the end of this season. We'll do that coming up still ahead here on Foxborough Rush. But we haven't had a chance to talk about Christian Ellis's pop that was like felt and seen and heard, from Foxborough to like zip codes all around it, right? I just wanted to get your take on that in terms of where that goes. Like sometimes you see hits like that and they become this, it's like a microcosm of the season and what a team is able to do, right? Based on that. I'm curious just to hear your vantage point on how much a moment like that, like one moment, can make a difference moving forward for this Patriots team.
Yeah, I think just showcasing that you're able to play a different brand of football than maybe you had in previous weeks. I think the Patriots defense is, for as aggressive as they are and for as much as they want to get after the quarterback and make things difficult in the backfield in the running game, that's kind of what their identity is. They haven't been a super physical team. It's been a little bit more finesse than physicality, which has worked for them, obviously. The Milton Williams and Christian Barmore can beat somebody at the point of attack. They're not laying huge hits on running backs. They're just kind of dragging them down in the backfield. It's been more of a we're playing smarter, not harder kind of situation. But some weeks you just have games where, all right, this quarterback likes to run. We need to make him feel it, because if we do that, it's going to change the way he plays. And this is a great return team. They're top 5 in return yardage throughout the season. We can't allow them to be comfortable taking the ball, out from outside of the 25. We want them waiting for a fair catch. We want them just not even thinking about trying to return these things. And that's what Christian Ellis was able to do. He had 2 hits, obviously the one on Dart, then the one on Gunnar Olszewski. I had mentioned the fact that Gunnar Olszewski's logo came off of his helmet, which how many times do you see that a season? It's not very many. But in totality, being able to flip it a little bit and say, all right, we're sound, we read our keys, we know what we're doing. Let's just go play fast and physical and see where that takes us, because that's a little bit different of a brand for them. And the fact that they're able to do it, it's something they haven't been able to do in recent seasons in a long time, really, because even the last few seasons where they were successful defensively and as a team, think the 2018 season, 2019, when they had those great defenses, it wasn't so much about knocking your head off your shoulders. It was reading your keys and making sure you're in the right spot. But if you're able to add that level of physicality to the table, you become a team that other teams don't want to play. And if you can become that on top of just a good 10, 11 win team at this point in the season, that's a different level, I think. So good on them. Good on Christian Ellis he talked about too, I didn't know if it was legal or not. I was just going for it because that was, it felt right in the moment. So good for him, because he had 2 there. He's going to be remembered for a while just for those 2 hits alone.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they have a coach who embodied that style of play, right? And I think they've been building to it, for as long as Vrabel's been here, talking about playing through the whistle and the different things that he brings to the table. I think that they've just been like building to this point, right? You got to be doing the fundamentals right. You have to do the small stuff right to get to that point where you can play with that type of physical, get after it. You can't be hesitating at all on a play like that. And look, I mean, this is where it has gotten the Patriots, right? They're sitting there as the number 1 seed. They get to sit back and enjoy the week a little bit and watch everybody else duke it out on week 14 as they have the late bye here. And you look at the numbers, obviously. Drake Maye earns his first AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors because of that game Monday night. And he's not alone in taking home some honors. Travion, he earns Rookie of the month honors. So you talk about, seeing what he's adding to the equation here in New England. So congrats to him on that. And then you talk about the win streak, right? And this one kind of made me giggle when you talk about when the Patriots last lost. It was a long time ago. You want to know how long ago it was? They haven't lost since September. The Red Sox lost more recently than the Patriots did, right? October 2nd. So you're going back a ways when you talk about where this Patriots team has been. Where does that mean they're going to go? Well, we get to sit back and observe all of that and watch as it unfolds here in the month of December. More Foxborough Rush coming at you right after this. Foxborough Rush coming back at you on a Friday morning. We're just bringing all sorts of formations to the table this morning. Like, that is what we are about. Keagan Stiefel, Jade McCarthy, and joining us now, Taylor Kyles, CLNS Media in Boston. What's going on, Taylor? How are you this morning?
Excited to be in this 3-receiver set with y'all. Thank you so much for having me. But the question is, who of us is going to be the ISO? Who's on the outside taking all the one-on-one matchups? I think it's Keagan. Beard like that. That'll scare the competition.
It's definitely Taylor on the outside because we're going to be lobbing up questions to you and just going to be ripping them down. It's like rebounds.
Well,
we're just everything. It's all about you right now. We've got 16, 17 minutes for Taylor. I guess I'll just start real quick where you're at with the Patriots. I think you might have been a little bit more optimistic about this team coming into the season, and I've obviously followed along with you, and I think it's been a little bit slower of a climb. People have shot right past you, but you've been a little bit more, I don't know, pragmatic about the way you view this Patriots team, and I think we have as well. So where are you now after Patriots? They beat the Giants. They're 11-2, best team in the NFL. Kind of talk going on around New England.
Well, if I'm being honest, I was pretty optimistic about what they could be because you have a former head coach of the year in Mike Vrabel. You have Drake Maye, who, what I saw last year, as similar situation where I was already very impressed by what he could be, and then he blew away those expectations in a bad situation last year. And the biggest thing for me was Josh McDaniels, knowing, okay, Drake's got the talent, but does he have the kind of offensive coordinator who can maximize not only what Drake can do, but also just the pieces he has around him? So even with all of that said, I've been blown away, and it's mostly just been the resilience, the mental toughness, and this team's ability to find ways to win, which I know there's been talk about the strength of schedule and they haven't played anybody or whatever, but you can look back at the last 2 years and see plenty of games that the Patriots should have won or were right in the thick of it to win, and they constantly found ways to just lose. That's the nice way to put it. I had a lot of different windows in my mind, but they would find ways to lose consistently. And now you're finally seeing that, like last week, when you have every excuse to not play your best game, you got your back against the wall because you just played 12 straight games, all these key players that are not going to be out there for you, and they have the most physical game we've seen all year and look like the kind of team that no one wants to play in the playoffs. So even for as excited as I was for their potential, I have been extremely impressed by what Mike Vrabel's done and the buy-in that he has gotten from the squad.
All right, so you mentioned Mike Vrabel and obviously the buy-in, and I think what's interesting is that you listen to him in his final press conference this week with reporters before the Patriots kind of unplug for a couple days, whatever that means to some of those coaches. I'm not even going to go there and try to guess. But he did use that word championship in one of his answers this week. And nothing that he does from my seat is by mistake, right? Like everything that Mike Vrabel does is intentional. There is intent behind it. So the fact that he used that word, that was all very significant in my mind, Taylor. I'm curious where you two stand on that statement that came from Mike Vrabel, just the use of that word as the Patriots head into the bye week.
I think that Mike Vrabel knows what he's got in this team. And yes, you can make the argument that they played the Bills, but there's not a whole lot of other opponents that they faced that you really expect to make any kind of playoff push. But even still, it's the way they're winning. Where sure, okay, if you're going to play the teams that are on your schedule, and if they're not very good, you better beat the brakes off those boys. And that's what they've been doing. You know, you had the Jets game where maybe didn't go quite the way you would have liked for a bad team going up against a good team, but that's also Thursday night. You kind of understand it's on a short week. But I think he realizes, and I'm not sure if he thought that they'd be able to get here when the season started. The first press conference, he's talking about, we just need to take advantage of bad football. You know, we just need to do the bare minimum and then see what we can do. And now you're stacking wins. Drake May's an MVP candidate. They're already set up to clean up with the awards. Every week it feels like somebody's getting something. The AFC Player of the Week, Player of the Month, Rookie of the Month, Travion Henderson. So I really think it's Vrabel acknowledging that we do have something special here. And it's not even just the talent. It's not just the wins. It's the DNA and the chemistry that they have. Where when I went up to Morgan Moses after the game, and I was like, you were really hitting those boys after the Giants game. First thing he brought up was the offensive line dinners and all the things that they've done behind the scenes to become closer. Reminds me of that 2016 championship team where you kept hearing late in the year, they're like, I love these guys. We are so close. And they constantly talked about that bond. And I think that makes the difference when your back's against the wall. You aren't thinking about yourself. You're like, I got to play for these guys. And I think that is what truly brings the best out of this team. And it's maximizing, you know, some spots that were already very talented, but even some that I think you could say were kind of surprising.
Yeah, I definitely think he knows what he's talking about, or he knows what he's saying, specifically the exact words he's saying. In that first press conference you mentioned, Taylor, he said, we want to play a home playoff game. That's kind of the first goal. We want to bring playoff football back to Foxborough. I don't know if that box is checked yet, but they're pretty damn close to checking that box. So why not raise the expectations? And he was asked this week, do you raise the expectations? Do they change? And he kind of gave the coach answer of no, like the expectation is always to win a championship, blah, blah, blah. But I think they have changed. I think he knew what he was capable of. I don't think he knew what his team was going to be capable of. Obviously, before they had gotten out onto the field, it's in January. Who knows? But now that he's seen it, the expectations are high. This is a guy who's brought a team to the AFC Championship game. He knows what it takes to get to that Final Four, you know, situation. So I think he believes that this team can get there. And who am I to tell him that they can't? You know, he's in there and he knows better than any of us would. So I agree with him wholeheartedly that he agrees that this is a championship team. I wanted to ask you about the locker room thing. You had mentioned that the last time I was in the locker room, Devon Godshaw was like handing out coats. He was ready to get out of there. He was like, I'm going to, you know, San Tropez. I'm going to go have a good off season. And then they have this whole makeover of the roster and everything changes. Coaching staff, you know, people behind the scenes. I want to know what it's like in there now, just in terms of the overall vibe, because last year from about week 4 on, it was miserable. Guys were not having a good time. It was a slog. They didn't want to be at work. And we had talked about last week, me and Jade, about how it seems like guys are really excited to show up to work this year. And they think that there's something good at the end of this road. So what has the vibe been like overall, just in terms of the shift from last year to this year?
Yeah, well, I joined the beat in 2023, so all I've known, really, we're losing locker rooms. And even when they won, you weren't really getting these stretches of success, and then you fall off. It was really, oh, there's a win, and now there's going to be a losing streak where, you know, the vibes aren't very great. Very, very different this year. Obviously, winning's going to help, but people do want to be there, and there's camaraderie. I think the thing that stands out most, and Pop actually mentioned this a few weeks back or maybe a month back, he said the offensive and defensive players hang out with each other. That's something I've never seen before. And it's true. In the last time I was in the locker room, I think it was earlier this week, you did have defensive players with the offensive players, different position groups bonding. The special teams corner had a bunch of people that I've never even really seen standing over there in recent years. And I think that is a testament to, like I said, the chemistry and the relationships they've built, where it isn't just the winning. The winning helps, because when you see that the proof is in the pudding and everything that Mike Vrabel is telling you, these are the keys to victory. This is what we have to do to win. When those things are actually happening, it excites you as a player. These are professional athletes. These guys want to compete and they want to win. So you keep hearing guys like Marcus Jones after the Monday Night Football, saying, yeah, I mean, we just watch we eat Chick-fil-A and watch film. They bond over getting better. They want to continue to excel and be the best versions of themselves. And you can really see it. You know, people are hanging out with each other. The vibes are good, but it's not just, oh, we're riding bikes in the locker room. It's more, no, like this is exciting because we're winning, but we also realize that this can be taken from us in a second. Gonzo's talked about it. May's talked about it, where like we're used to losing. We don't want to be losing anymore. And that fire's lit under them. And I really don't see it going out anytime soon, largely because of also the veterans that they've added. Like a guy like Stephon Diggs, who's seen a lot of football. He's been through a lot. He knows that you can get full of yourself if you want. But at some point, if you do that, the other shoe is going to drop. And the NFL is going to treat you the way you treat it. So these guys are really committed. And it's another reason I do believe, like Mike Vrabel said, they might have the edge and they could have championship DNA. But, we shall see. Another couple tough games coming up.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think like they seemingly pulled all the right moves, right? In terms of like bringing in Steph Diggs and obviously Milton Williams is hurt right now, but what he's meant and coming through on the contract that they gave him. So it just feels like they pulled all the right levers during the offseason. And I think that notion of that belief in the locker room and that joy of just like being together, right? Like I had a coach say to me once, like leadership starts with love. And people kind of look at you twisted, like, what do you mean it starts with love? Well, yeah, it does. Like if you love the guy next to you, you're going to play a heck of a lot harder for that guy. And I think that Vrabel has really instilled that in this team, right? Like we see those, videos week after week of him being there, like making sure that he's shaking every player's hand as they head into the locker room after the game. We've seen the instances of him, being out there like holding a guy's hand when they're down on the field, like dealing with an injury. So that like there is this sentiment of love amongst the players on this team. And I think it starts with the head coach and it's filtered all the way down and it changes the way that they go about everything that they do, which can then amount to wins in this league. Because then all of a sudden, like you're not playing yourself at all. You're not playing your opponent. Like you're playing the best brand of football that you believe you can put out there. Look, Taylor, I want to talk to you about the season that Drake Maye is having because obviously, he's been in that MVP conversation for probably about a month now, but, catapulted to the top of the odds, if you will. I think we have some of them that we can check out here, but there he is, like the MVP favorite once again at -105. And then if you look at the comparison between him and Matt Stafford, who is second on the list, right? This coming from DraftKings Sportsbook, if you can't see it. Passing yards, completion percentage, touchdown to interception, passer rating. The passer ratings are about even. Stafford obviously leading the league with 32 touchdowns in comparison to Drake Maye's 23, and he's only turned the ball over 4 times. Completion percentage, passing yards, those both belong to Drake Maye. Is this, in your mind, the MVP of the season, Taylor?
I was a little bit unsure before this most recent game because I did think there was that stretch where the Patriots did play some tough defenses like the Browns defense, the Falcons defense. Even the Jets, I thought he made some mistakes that I didn't love. And for me, an MVP is someone who consistently puts you in positions to succeed and is a reason or often the reason you're winning games, but is rarely a reason that your team is being put in bad positions. And I just felt that there were times where Drake Maye wasn't always protecting the football. Now, we know sometimes that's inaccuracy. Sometimes it's bad decision-making, like forgetting that a linebacker is allowed to jump. So there's things like that. But also, the protecting himself, stepping up in the pocket, but not just running into defensive linemen, not losing yardage unnecessarily when you can just throw it away or take an open receiver that's standing right in front of you. Those were kind of shaky, I think, in November, and I pulled out a little bit. In October, I was saying, you know what? Drake Maye is playing at a pretty ridiculous level. When you're beating Tom Brady's records every single year, I'm sorry. It's not really much of a debate. You're doing something very incredible. But after this most recent game, if he keeps this up, he is the MVP because he's consistently making the 3, 4, 5 plays a game where your jaw drops and you're saying, it's crazy that the Patriots have this guy. Obviously, 5, 6 years in the desert, but they just had Tom Brady not too long ago, and now you have a kid who in his second season is clearly a top 5 quarterback. So when he protects the ball and he's making those plays, that is when I say, yes, you are the MVP because he's doing things that you don't see a lot of other quarterbacks do. And I think raising all ships in a way, because I think it's disrespectful to act like he's got a bad supporting cast. Mike Nwenu hasn't allowed a sack this year. Morgan Moses is keeping him clean. Garrett Bradbury hasn't been perfect, but he hasn't allowed a sack. those guys have made a huge difference. The wide receivers, Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas, have the highest passer rating when targeted in the NFL right now. Obviously, relatively limited sample size. It's not like they're getting the target share of a Jackson Smith-Njigba, but all these guys are coming through, but he's also putting them in positions to make these plays, and they're coming through for him. So it's not just the Drake May show, but it's also impossible to say that other people aren't having good seasons because of what their second-year, 23-year-old quarterback is doing.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't aware of Taylor, and you should be, CLNS does great work. Ray of Sunshine, I think you bring a really good point of view to all of this stuff, because this is an inherently negative space, is sports media and football. I'm one of those negative people. So I've been looking for something throughout the year to, like, give me something so I can not believe in this team, because I didn't believe in them coming into the season. I've been proven wrong thus far, but there's got to be an Achilles heel here. Like, there's got to be something that's going to be difficult for them to overcome in the playoffs. For me, it's like the red zone offense. I can't get past how bad it's looked from all levels, like from the play on the field to the play calling to Drake May specifically. I think he can make beautiful throws like the one you saw to Kayshon Boutte on Monday, and then he could also just miss Travion Henderson in the flat and slow him down and take a touchdown off the board. You know, they've turned the ball over multiple times. They've had to score on fourth down. I think it's like 4 or 5 times throughout the season. Is there an Achilles heel to this team that you've seen? Is it that red zone offense, or is it something different?
I think it's a red zone on both sides of the ball, to be honest, because I do think I've had questions. Is it the play calling? Is it Drake May? What is it? I think it's the execution. I don't think you're ever going to have perfect play calls in the red zone. It's very, very difficult. But at the end of the day, it really is about one side dominating the other. And we know another Achilles heel you could say might be the run game, which did take a significant step forward, I thought, last week, and they play a lot of bad run defenses, so they'll have a chance to continue to improve. But when you get inside the 5-yard line, you'd like to just be able to run the ball. You're talking about like 10, 13 yards of space. It's not a whole lot of area for you to work with. So if you can just pound the rock up the middle and score, that's a whole lot easier. But you can't really do that, or you haven't shown that you can do that. And that makes life a lot harder on everybody. It makes the defensive play calling less predictable in a situation where you're hoping that it is shrunk, the play call sheet. But it's even tougher when they're saying we don't really have to pay attention to the backfield or any of this run action because we're not afraid of it. So the red zone offense must improve, but also the red zone defense. They're one of the worst red zone defenses in the NFL right now. And a lot of it is they have a bit of a bend but don't break mentality. Against the bad offenses, I think you don't see a whole lot of bending, and that's a good thing to see. But against some better offenses like the Buccaneers, you do see that they're able to just kind of tick, 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 and then that boom happens once you get in the low red zone because they haven't been able to stop them. And it's miscommunication sometimes where they do have a new defensive system. It's a lot more zone-based than man-based, and there's been times where you got a guy wide open like Bijan Robinson in the flat. There was a touchdown the next week where it looked like Marcus Jones didn't pick up his assignment, and Marcus Jones is having a great season. But there's just a lot of different little things that go wrong in the red zone that have led to them giving up more points. And when you're talking about a schedule where I think the Patriots offense has been challenged, I think their defense has only been challenged a handful of times. And when they have been, I think you do see these same reoccurring issues. So the red zone overall needs to be better. It's nice when you can be explosive. It's nice when you can stop opponents before they even sniff scoring territory. But when you don't, you must tighten up, because against these better teams in the playoffs, if you know that you get in the red zone and you don't have a good chance of having success, that's a bad spot to be.
Yeah, you can't be kicking field goals all night. Just go ask the Dallas Cowboys. You just can't do it. Cannot do it, right? Hey, Taylor, thanks so much. We appreciate your hanging out, stopping by here on Foxborough Rush.
Thank you all so much for having me. This was a blast.
Thanks, pal.
We'll do it again sometime, right? Hopefully we'll have some more wins to talk about as the Patriots look to keep on moving forward and marching along this season. Taylor Kyles with us here this morning. We'll be back with much more. We got to check out the rest of that Week 14 slate, Keegan, on the other side. So stick around. There are some doozies on the matchup card this weekend. We'll be right back with more right after this. Foxborough Rush coming back at you. Week 14, of course, started last night as the Lions handed the Dallas Cowboys a big loss, and it was an entertaining game to say the least. But they won the turnover battle. Amon-Ra St. Brown came out and look, I mean, finished with, I think, 6 for 92, despite the fact that a week ago he couldn't even walk, right? Like, I mean, credit to him, credit to the training staff that got him ready to be out there. It was a pretty gutsy performance by him and an impressive performance by this Lions team last night, Keegan. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, way to make me eat crow. I professed my love for the Cowboys this season and all the things I thought they could be. It's looking like there's almost no chance they even get to show it because the playoff odds are down to like 4% or whatever it is. So an unfortunate loss for them. I think they are super talented. I think they're a team to watch kind of moving forward. But the Lions have been there. They've done that with this group. I think that was an example of winning DNA, a winning kind of mentality. They know how to win football games, even when they're down their entire secondary. They obviously lost Brian Branch to an Achilles injury, it's going to be hard for them to overcome that without both their safeties and both their top corners. But they can score with anybody. So that's a team to look out for. They're gonna kill somebody, and it's gonna be like, oh, the Lions are for real, and then they're gonna lose the next week because they can't stop anybody.
Yeah. We'll see how it all shakes out for them. Obviously, there's some other huge games that have implications on their standing, one of them out in Lambeau Field. We'll get to that game here as we work our way through the slate here. 7 divisional games this weekend. And needless to say, there's a lot up for grabs. So let's just, kick it off here. Seahawks and Falcons. We can probably move through this one pretty quickly. Falcons have obviously been disappointing. Seattle, to me, should win this one. They just have to go make sure that they don't beat themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be fun watching the Falcons offense versus the Seahawks defense. It would be nice if the Falcons offense had a quarterback for all these talented players to get the ball from. But that's a fun little matchup within the game. But the Seahawks are going to take care of business.
All right, let's get to one of those divisional games. The Steelers and the Ravens, of course, they sit there tied atop the AFC North. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a passing touchdown in the last 3 games. The Steelers got dismantled a week ago. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, a question mark as he's trying to deal with, basically playing one-handed because he has a cast on his other broken wrist. Who do you like in this one?
I don't like either of these teams. Both these teams, it hurts my feelings watching them because it's like, what's your problem, man? Like, what's your deal? So, not a fan of either one of these teams. I do like the Steelers. I don't know what the reason is. I think defensively they're getting better with each passing week, and they're not fit to stop Josh Allen. I think they are fit to stop a guy like Lamar Jackson, who just the running part of his game is just not there, and it hasn't been this season. He's been a one-dimensional quarterback, and he's regressed throwing the ball as well. So a guy who is averaging 19 yards on the ground per game does not scare me at quarterback, and that's just who Lamar Jackson has been this season. So I think the Steelers' defense guts one out if they can, get healthy before the game. Obviously, Kyle Duggar, Jalen Ramsey, TJ Watt, all these guys miss practices throughout the week. I would imagine a lot of that is veteran maintenance. So give me the Steelers. I think it's a little bit of an upset.
It'll be interesting. I mean, Lamar has barely practiced this week, didn't practice yesterday. He was limited on Wednesday. We'll see what today looks like. He's obviously been dealing with a myriad of injuries throughout the course of the season, and it's definitely hampering who he is as the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know. I mean, I'll take the Steelers in this one as well, just because I don't feel confident in what I've seen from Baltimore, but the Steelers aren't exactly, building me up in confidence of late either. The two of them have a rematch in week 18. And look, I mean, I think what's interesting here is that you have this other team in the division that they have 4 wins. And I'm legitimately wondering if they could wind up winning the division. That, of course, being the Cincinnati Bengals. But they have a tough test against them this weekend. They have to go into Buffalo and look to do what only New England has done this season. And that is hand the Buffalo Bills a loss at home. Can they do it?
No. This is about as easy as it'll be for the closer matchups for me. The Bills have found their groove. They're kind of back to being, and I don't think they're as talented as they've been in past seasons, but kind of like I mentioned with Detroit, with that winning DNA, a lot of the guys who are in kind of big spots for them have been there and done that. Not in the playoffs, but late December football, they've won a lot of December football games over the last 5 years. So I've got the Bills. I think they take care of business, and I think they throw another wrench into the AFC North because that whole division is a firestorm. It's really bad over there.
It is. I mean, I'm wondering how many wins it's actually going to take to win that division. I mean,
right. 9.
Is it going to be 9 and 8? Is it right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what it's looking like at this point in time. I like Buffalo in this game. I also just have one of those weird feelings that Cincinnati might be able to go in there and hand them a loss. So just to be different, I'll go with that. The Titans and the Browns. Look, obviously this is not the season that either of those two teams wanted to have. I'm not going to ask you for a winner in this one. I am going to ask you, do we see Myles Garrett break the sack record for a single season in this game? He needs 4.
You read my mind. I was literally going to say, I don't care. I'm watching Myles Garrett on Red Zone. I'm going to keep my eye on the left TV. Just what's Myles Garrett doing over there? I think he can do it. I like as good a week as any. Yeah. He's another one of those guys. We talked earlier this season about him where he kind of just gets to kind of pick where he lines up and bully like the worst guy on the other offensive line. J.C. Latham, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention. Former first-round pick, really highly regarded offensive lineman, has been horrible. Like really, really, really bad for the Tennessee Titans, putting their number one pick in danger, really. And I'm not even being hyperbolic and being funny. It's been about as bad as I've ever seen an offensive lineman play, and Myles Garrett is playing as well as a defensive lineman has played in the last 30 years. Give me the Browns just for that reason. I will give you a pick, but I think Myles Garrett can break the record this week, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, no, I don't think it sounds crazy. I mean, look at how many times Cam Ward has been sacked. If I'm him, I'm just like, oh, I mean, like, just please, like, give me like more than a millisecond before Myles Garrett is like on top of me and dragging me down. So, I mean, I'll take the Browns in this one, and I will be watching the sack master in Myles Garrett in this one as well. All right, let's go to the AFC South. Colts and the Jags. Obviously, the Jags have found their way to the top of that division. They're both sitting there with the same record, but the Jags have the current tiebreaker. The Colts, the season has been spiraling. They got a quarterback playing on one leg. They got Sauce Gardner, who's dealing with a calf injury. I will take the Jags to handle their business against the Indianapolis Colts this weekend.
Yeah, I've got the Jags as well. They've done a really good job at holding on to the football and kind of keeping their defense fresh. That's been the formula to winning. You know, they've struggled in the red zone as well, kind of like the Patriots, but they've held on to the football, they've controlled the clock, and their defense has been better off for it, and that's kept them in games. The Trevor Lawrence to Jacoby Myers connection is something I didn't know I needed, but I'm really enjoying that as well. So give me the Jags. The Colts, we talked about it 4 or 5 weeks ago where it was like, is this team for real? And I think both of us settled on no. There's just something there about Daniel Jones, and with the injury and with his turnover history, you can't put any trust in that team, or specifically that offense. So give me the Jags.
Yeah. 5 teams since the merger have gotten off to a 7-1 start and gone on to miss the playoffs. The Colts are obviously looking to avoid making that 6, but they have the toughest schedule remaining of any team in the National Football League. All right, while we're at it, let's just talk about that Sunday night game, because the Texans are lurking in the division, and they take on a Chiefs team. Did you hear Andy Reid's line this week? Did you hear it?
I didn't. No.
He said they are going to tickle the tonsils of their opponents. Obviously, the Chiefs do not have any margin for error here. I just needed to see Keegan's expression by sharing that with him. I think Reid actually giggled a little bit when he said it, by the way.
Yeah, that's...
who do you like in that Sunday night game?
I'm flabbergasted. That was not the expression I was expecting. I honestly, and this isn't just the full like, we're going against the Chiefs. I think the Texans have a chance to win this football game. They've played each other a lot over the last 3 years. I think it's 4 times. This will be the 5th matchup, either the 4th or the 5th matchup. CJ Stroud has struggled against that defense. The blitz rate is obviously insane as it is, but they've blitzed him even more than they blitz anybody else. He's struggled against it. That offensive line isn't great. But that Texans defense against this just inherently flawed Chiefs offense without their left tackle, with multiple starters missing, I think it's going to be a slobber knocker. Neither team is going to be able to score a ton of points, but the Texans have a little bit more of an explosive ability than the Chiefs do right now, so I'll take the Texans.
Yeah, give me the Texans. I said I would not pick against the Chiefs.
I said the same thing
again this season, but give me the Texans. I think they have a ton to play for. They're trying. I mean, it changes week to week. That's where we are in the season. Like, it changes on a dime that fast. We both were like on the Dallas train, and now look at Detroit and what they did last night. So it happens fast. Like, you just got to keep up. Come on. But yeah, give me the Texans Sunday night. I just have this feeling that they're going to find a way into Arrowhead and eke out a win. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think the Texans could hand really like the final nail in the Chiefs season. Look, there's still some time, but you go under 500 in December and things get kind of shaky. Okay, let's keep working our way through the slate here. Let's motor through a couple of these. Commanders and the Vikings, both of them trying to figure out the quarterback situation. Jade Daniels should be back, it looks like, for the Commanders, and same with J.J. McCarthy for Minnesota.
Yeah, I trust Jaden Daniels more than I trust J.J. McCarthy, so give me the Commanders.
Yeah, there you go. Well said. Dolphins and the Jets. Dolphins look to make it 4 straight wins this weekend. I will take them to beat the Jets.
Give me the Jets. They've figured something out. I think they're not dead in the water just yet, or at least Aaron Glenn isn't dead in the water. Their season is. They've got the new uniforms rolling out. AFC East. They play each other a lot. I'll take the Jets.
Yeah, I just like Devon Achane, like what he has done this season for that Dolphins team. I'll just ride it. Saints and Bucks. Look, obviously, the Saints are trying to figure out if Tyler Shough is their future. The Bucks are just trying to maintain the space because Carolina's on a bye week, and they're like, "Excuse me, we're still here, and we are not going away."
Yeah, I'll take the Bucks just because, like, I've always believed in them, and I really like their roster. They haven't been what I expected, but with a couple injury, Jalen McMillan and Mike Evans both coming off injury, assuming they're back, even if they aren't, they're on their way back. So I think things are looking up for the Bucks. I'll take them.
Broncos and Raiders. Raiders trying to play spoiler.
Yeah, give me the Broncos by 40. The Raiders stink.
Yeah. Okay. We'll and how about the Rams and the Cardinals?
Give me the Rams. The Cardinals stink. They find a way to lose games, like you said last week. The Cardinals, they'll stick in it, they'll make it close, and then they'll lose at the end.
Yeah, and I think the Rams were humbled enough last week against the Carolina Panthers, so I expect them to go in there and take care of business. All right, 2 picks left. We'll do that on the other side. That, of course, would be the Bears and the Packers. And then Monday Night Football, one of the teams will be without a significant player on the field. We'll tell you about that on the other side, right here on Foxborough Rush. Welcome back into Foxborough Rush, taking you through the rest of the weekend and the Week 14 action. And, had to save the best for last, right? Why not? There are some terrific matchups this weekend. And I think the one at Lambeau Field, it might be at the top of the list. I think I would probably put that one at the top of the list this weekend as the Chicago Bears ride their win streak into Lambeau. I think the high on Sunday is about 20 degrees. We'll see if it even climbs to that point as the Green Bay Packers, who have also won 3 in a row, play host to the Bears, who are currently the 1 seed in the NFC. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, the Packers are better than their record indicates. The Bears are worse than their record indicates. Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Caleb Williams is. Matt LaFleur is a better coach than Ben Johnson at this point, I think. That might be a little bit closer than the other two. Give me the Packers all the way. That's the team I picked to win the Super Bowl. I'm not going to pick against them. You can't make me. Go Pack, go.
He's sticking to it. See, on some things, like it's changing fast on all the time. On this one, though, this is his Super Bowl pick.
Nope.
He's gonna stay with the Green Bay Packers
My Green
to
Gold,
overtake
baby.
the Bears. That stupid tie confuses things, right? I mean,
know.
goodness gracious. Yeah, I mean, I think the Packers take this one. I don't know. I do
All right,
have a
good.
little bit of an odd feeling in this one, though. A little bit.
No odd feelings
all
this
right,
week.
Monday
I need
night.
good vibes. Good vibes with the Packers.
Monday night, the Philadelphia Eagles, without Jalen Carter, will head out to the West Coast to take on the Chargers. We all know that Justin Herbert, was as tough as they come. I think he missed 6 snaps in the game after breaking his hand last week. Went out, got it wrapped, gloved, had surgery on Monday. Is hopeful to be out there next Monday. I think they're trying to figure out how much he can do under center and if he'll be able to do it, but he obviously wants to do it. Jalen Carter for the Eagles had a procedure on his shoulders, and he's basically like day to day, week to week at this point in time. Who do you like Monday night?
I hate this game. It should just be easy. Like the Eagles, they are who they are. I've made the same argument week after week. They're the most talented team in the NFL. They shouldn't look as bad as they have, but they have. They haven't looked good. And the Chargers are kind of one of those middle of the road, like talent teams where they've got the advantage in some spots, they don't in others. With Jalen Carter, this would have been easy for me. It would have been an easy Eagles, but without him, and that offensive line's kind of banged up, so it's a little bit of a wash there. Give me the Chargers just because they're at home and the Eagles are imploding. I really don't know.
You don't want to have egg on your face. See what I did there?
Yeah,
I did there. Did you read that story?
I'm gonna have.
He's
gonna be pissed about it too because he was not happy. He went full dad.
Yeah, no,
that's unacceptable, which it is, but it was fun.
Yeah, it is unacceptable. I'll take the Eagles. The Chargers have 1 win at a team that's currently over 500 this season. So it might not be pretty, but I'll take the Eagles to get it done Monday night. And we just want to leave you with this, that, maybe there will be a kumbaya coming down the road, right? Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, both named contributor and coach finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026. Our congratulations. Right? They're both going to be there. They're both going to be there. It's just a matter of when it actually happens. But there are so many good finalists this year.
Yeah,
Okay, you gotta go.
I love that they're going in together. I love it. It's the best.
See ya. Enjoy the football.
See you later.